Hi, and welcome to another session of our course Product and Business Planning. It's a master course, and we stopped talking about idea generation, which is encompassing all kinds of strategic tools and instruments we've already talked about. Remember the business model canvas being developed by �𝗏𝗏 and his team. And today we want to talk a little bit about what actually is a new product. What is a product? What is an innovation? And we see on the slide that there are different kind of products or definitions of a new product or dimensions of a new product. One option is that you can replace a product. One product is replaced by another one. That is product replacement. That is, for example, if Apple comes out with a new iPhone, that is a product replacement. Or Daimler, Mercedes-Benz is coming out with a new S-Class. That's a product replacement. Then, of course, you can add another product to an existing line, to an existing product line. What is a product line? In general, we differentiate between different kind of, two different kind of aspects here. One moment. One is so-called product depth, and the other one is product width. And depth is, if you go really, this is one product line, this is another product line. For example, you're having, I don't know, shampoo, and then you have, for example, or you have soaps, and then this is all these different product lines. These are product lines. They have, they are signaling how big the product depth is. How much the width is. So this is the product width, the different number of product lines. And the depth is then here, how many different variants of a product line you have. So these are all the shampoos you have with different kind of packaging, etc., etc. And if you add one product, one variant to the product line, this is also some kind of an innovation. But it's really not the innovation we all think of when we talk about innovation. And then you have a new product line. A new product line is really if you add a new category to your business portfolio. For example, this is what Apple did when Apple entered the iPhone market. It was not a world encompassing innovation. It was not a new to the world product. It was an innovation, but it was not what we understand if we talk about new to the world product, if we talk about so-called transformational innovation. But of course, for Apple, it was a new product line that was added. Or the examples we had in the past when we talked about, for example, Caterpillar also entering the rugged smartphone market. And finally, like I just mentioned, new to the world product is really if you have an innovation which is really defining a new market. That is the difference I think we talked about before. Innovations or world encompassing innovations, comprehensive innovations, they are able to define a new market. And we call this kind of a strategy market driving strategy. Market driving strategy is if you come out with completely new innovative products. Market driving strategy versus, in marketing we talk about that, versus market driven strategy. Are you driving a new kind of market? Are you defining a new kind of market? Or are you driven by the market? New to the world products are difficult to find because really this takes a lot of research and development, a lot of courage, and there's always a high risk of failure. So what in the end, what makes up a good innovation? What makes up innovation? That is really important and instrumental to the success of the corporation. Innovation consists of two words. which are very much of equal importance in this respect. One is invention. So innovation is about inventing something, innovating a new kind of technology, 𝗪𝗂𝗰. Now, a new kind of service, for example, that has not been there before, a new kind of business model. And of the same importance, exploitation. You also need to capitalize on the innovation, because most of the companies, of course, are for-profit companies, and you need to utilize the invention in an economic way. And there's one very, very prominent management guru, Schumpeter, and he said more than 100 years ago, he said, innovation is the only driver for economic growth. And he was looking at the industrialized, basically Western industrialized countries. Because international competitiveness cannot be achieved through lower wages, because we cannot compete with Asian countries, for example, with Bangladesh, Indonesia, when it comes to wages. We can only, as Germany, France, Spain, but also United Kingdom or the United States of America, they can only compete through innovations. And that is what Schumpeter said more than 100 years ago. The problem is, innovations always encompass a high rate of failure. We assume that about 80% of all innovations do fail. Why is that? Because mostly it is insufficient innovation orientation of the managers and the employees alike. And it's always that if you do something which is antithetical to your core, that is causing conflict. That is a very important learning I got from my Google people. They always said that innovation is antithetical to your core. It's exactly the opposite to your core business. So it's going unknown paths. And that involves risk, and that involves failure. And very, very few organizations and also individuals are able and happy to embrace risk and change. These are some funny quotes, funny because now retrospectively speaking, they have proven to be so deeply false. Albert Einstein in 1932 said, "There is not the slightest indication that we will ever to be able to use nuclear power." Or Ken Olsen, and he should have known that, he was the CEO of Digital Equipment. And in 1977, he said, "There is no reason that anybody would ever want a computer at their home." Funny, everybody has a computer, of course, at their homes right now. And a funny quote coming from Bill Gates, still in the 80s, he said, 640K should be all that any application will ever need. Hello, Windows. And Gottlieb Daimler, the inventor of the car, said, "The demand for cars will never be above 1 million. He meant globally. Why? Because there are not enough chauffeurs. He could not imagine during those days that you should be enjoying to drive a car, or you want to drive a car yourself. He said, okay, there are simply not enough chauffeurs, so nobody's buying a car to drive it on its own or to drive it on her own. So that these are very, very funny forecasts here. Within innovation theory, what is very, very important is that we have differentiation between product innovation and process innovation. Product innovation is defined as the development of new products, because that's in the name, of course. But there's also process innovation, new kind of factor combinations which make the production of a product cheaper, better as to quality, safer or faster. That is a certain kind of a process that can also be invented. So process innovations normally relate to internal changes, not to external market processes. They can also refer to products already being introduced that may be happening. So they have a different kind of production process that you're inventing. For example, 3D printing as a kind of a process innovation as well. Probably also a product innovation, but it is also a process innovation because it changes the way things are being produced. Because also in the car manufacturing industry, it's interesting that a lot of spare parts are no longer bought with former important key suppliers, but they are printed. And what are the stages now? When it comes to the innovation generation process and product development in general, you can look at the process in more detail in my book. So first it starts with an idea. Of course, you need an idea. And usually what a good starting point is, and we talked about that when we talked about the value proposition canvas and the Osterwalder model of the business model canvas, we said a good starting point is to look at the problems that certain people have. Then you might have an idea of what your product or what your service may be about. Then you need to screen that. You need to compare different kind of ideas or different kind of solutions you may be offering. You have a rough concept and you test it and you lay down your strategy. Laying down your strategy, what are the competitors? What do you want to achieve in terms of profitability, in terms of market share? How shall the product be branded? What shall the pricing be? How are you selling that? How are you communicating that? This also goes hand in hand with a business analysis, like who's already in the market, if there are already competitors in the market. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their services? What is their communication strategy like? Then you develop the product or the service, really. When it really is a physical product, for example, what is very important in today's world is to come out quick with a product. We talked about that before, speed matters. And in this respect, rapid prototyping is of paramount importance. I know that you're aware of that. Rapid prototyping. You come out rapidly with a prototype. Doesn't need to be perfect, but it is better. I mentioned that over and over and over again. I need to get this correct now. It's better to be the first one in Milano than to be the third one in Rome. And that is more applicable in today's world than ever before. You test it on a small market. Like I said, for example, when we talked in the introduction about Amazon and Amazon launching Amazon Pharmacy now, they tested it before they launched that. Now, in the entire United States, they had a small test market only with employees. They tested that. And then commercialization is, of course, you're capitalizing on that. You're capitalizing on that, you penetrate the market, you extend your market share. How's innovation generation usually happening? What are sources of innovation? Sources of innovation basically are internal as well as external. So internal may be coming from the R&D people, not necessarily so. It can also research and development can also be coming from marketing or sales department. So for example, the sales staff is traveling and I don't know, talking to customers or to end customers or to business customers. Doesn't make any difference, but they're getting at some kind of a feedback about a product, about a service, about a problem, and they come out with a suggestion. Say, oh, you need to do something here. It could be also derived from market research. That you, I don't know, you're picking up certain trends of the market and you have an agency really digging more into depth. Or it could be from the product management people. Usually these are the people also that are sitting in the marketing department. And other impacts here could be coming from employees, from the top management, or other kind of sources. External is going hand in hand with that one. So like I said, sales is probably talking to some kind of customers and maybe picking up trends here from the external environment. It may be coming from retail, from the retailers, from the wholesale, saying, okay, what is working well, what is not working well. And for example, I don't know, people are not familiar in installing a TV set or a new kind of a TV, so you have to improve the manual, or you have to run a website or do a YouTube video on that. Research institutes that dig into trends, for example. Also, external impulses can come from suppliers, competitors, foreign markets. If you think about the success story of Red Bull actually, Mateschitz was taking the recipe from Asia. He was picking up the trend from Asia, and then he was introducing that in Austria and in Germany and in Europe in general. But that was coming from a foreign market. Other industries may be also having a certain kind of problem that is universally applicable in different kind of branches. Or it could be trade, industry, organizations, trade shows, and so on and so forth. Now, what is important in today's world is speed. I talked about that, and continuous innovation. Continuous innovation. It's not good to be innovative one moment in time, because then what is happening, your innovation is being copied in an ever shorter period amount of time, offered at lower cost. So companies and management thinkers like we are thinking very, very hard on about what can we do in order to nurture a culture of innovation inside the organization. And basically, no matter which books you're looking at, you always find those elements that are on the screen. One is you have to reward success heavily. So you have to celebrate success. So if you have a successful innovation that is launched into the market, that is, I don't know, encountering big sales and hurrah from customers' perspective, then you have to reward that financially, or a certain kind of recognition. You got to promote those people that brought this forward, and so on and so forth. Probably, I would say this is probably the most important thing. Take this in a different kind of color. This is probably the most important thing. Tolerance for failure. You have to be tolerant towards failure, because like we said, 80% of all innovations across businesses and countries do fail, and you have to tolerate that. Think about the big companies that are ruling the world: Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, right? The GAFA companies. And look at their failures. Amazon, for example, they were introducing the Fire phone. It was not a big hit, right? So, but they tried it. It didn't work. Okay, they do something else. Now, Google introduced Google Plus. It was not a big hit. So it was canceled for normal people, right? It's still there for businesses, but they tried to build something like Facebook, and even with the help of YouTube and with the help of Google, it was not really successful, so it was terminated. And all those companies, they have their failures, but what sets those companies apart, that they fail fast. In one Google presentation, one chief innovation officer was saying, we have a culture of failing fast, but to tolerate that, you have to be accessible. You have to be approachable for new kind of ideas. An element also I took from Google is 20% time. So what Google does is, and other tech companies do the same, they allow 20% of the time of an engineer to work on a pet project. So usually what they do is, they don't take a day off per week to do that. Usually it's 1 day per week, but they bank it up. So usually they work 5 weeks on a project, and then they take, I don't know, 3 weeks off to think about an idea, to think about an innovation, about a problem to be solved. And these are so-called 20% time projects. There are even books about this principle of 20% time. Then this is very closely related to the tolerance of failure here. Resist automatic naysaying, because that is nearly, like I said, automatically coming from a lot of companies, that you're coming out with a suggestion, also as a consultant, and then people are saying, no, it cannot work because of, and somebody is giving you 10 reasons why a project is not very good. So, or we've never done that before. And that is nearly happening automatically in a lot of instances. And you have to avoid that in order to be innovative. Because like said before, innovations are antithetical to your core. you have to back words with resources. So it's not good enough to just say, oh, we are innovative, or let's be innovative, let's play around. You have to have enough resources, manpower, but also capital. Yeah, you have to have enough money to be spent on research and development. Otherwise, you cannot be innovative, of course. Then clear messages about the importance of innovation. Let's take one example. HP. Do you know what's underneath the HP logo, Hewlett-Packard logo? It says invent. HP, invent, invent. And HP always had a commitment that they're saying that 80% of the global turnover is done with products not being older than 2 years old, right? So that is a strong message about the importance of innovation also towards external stakeholders, which is creating or fostering an innovative culture. Symbolic management means that the top managers, they lead by example. They're also shining stars when it comes to thinking outside of the box, when it comes to being entrepreneurs. And that is actually what we are looking for when we look at all these kind of elements here. And I was mentioning that before. What we are doing is we are looking for, and that is the best term, we are looking for intrapreneurs. We are looking for intrapreneurs. These are the entrepreneurs inside the organization. And this is basically what all kind of companies, no matter whether they're digital companies or they're just service companies, what all are looking for. But it's not good enough to just look for that, but you have to really pursue these kind of guidelines and principles in order to be successful in the long run. Flops and huge development costs are the challenges in innovation. I mentioned that before. You have flop risk, industry average. I mentioned that 80% of all innovations, they do fail. Here it says 14 ideas coming out, 1.7 launches are, that's a very good number, and 1 successful product, right? So at least minimum is 14-1 is flop rate. We assume that, like I said, 80% of all innovations do fail. And we have huge development costs. They are more expensive than ever before. There's more capital employed than ever before. So Airbus, for example, development costs were $15 billion. Car model used to be, in the past, it used to be about $500 million, but now it's more than 2 billion already. So it's no longer 1.5, it's approximately 2 billion. A motion picture, it used to be, it could start at 2.1 million, 2.5 million, and still there are independent pictures being produced at very, very low cost. However, big blockbusters, they score up to 300 million already. So not 75, but 300 million. We need to update that. So we have high and increasing development costs. New pharmaceuticals, about 2 billion, roughly speaking. So innovations contain potential economic growth, but also risks because of the high investment and the high likelihood for failure. And that is why so very few enterprises really are innovative all over the years. That is the big thing, because there have been a lot of companies being super innovative, BlackBerry, Nokia, that are then gone. Kodak, also Pan American Airways, but they are all gone. They fail to continue to be innovative. Now, in the same respect, what is important is how innovations diffuse. We call that the diffusion model of innovation. How do innovations diffuse into the market? And we have a so-called diffusion model of innovations. And it looks like that. This is the time, and these are the percentage of customers adopting an innovation. So these are not the companies, these are the customers. And the people who are adopting an innovation very, very first, in the first instance, are the innovators. The innovators are not the companies who are innovative, but these are the innovators are called customers that are camping in front of the Apple Store to get the latest iPhone, for example. These are innovators. Then we have the early adopters. You see that this is about 15% approximately. And but you need, of course, you need to target all those kind of people. It depends, of course, on the pricing, on the strategy. You have early majority, late majority, and the laggards are the ones who are really waiting until a new kind of a product has become a certain kind of a standard, and then they're buying that. And here already the new models coming out, so probably you would have another curve like that, even when it comes to the same kind of product category. I love that one. That is what I'm over and over and over again using in all of my keynotes all over the globe. I was using that in Pakistan, in India. I was using that in Malaysia, in Philippines. That is the standardization process after the introduction of innovation. So it is a lovely metaphor. So there are penguins and they're standing on an ice shelf and they're all hungry for fish, but they are a bit anxious because they don't know whether they are orcas, their natural enemies, whether they are around. That is probably a picture from an orca, not close to the ice shelf because the water looks so clean. So probably it's from SeaWorld. But the first phase is called penguin phase because the companies, you can also say this customers, but there can also be companies. They're staying on the ice shelf and they're hungry for fish, but they're anxious as well. Now, what is happening? One penguin is jumping into the water first because he's so or she's so hungry, and he's getting the best fish. This penguin is getting the best fish. And what happens to the others? They're just watching, right? And if that one penguin that was so courageous to jump into the water first gets the best fish and is not killed, what happens? Everybody's following. Therefore, in the first phase, one company or one customer is adopting first or is launching an innovation first, and the others just watching. Let's assume that the penguin is killed, so the innovation is not successful. Nobody's following, of course. In the second phase, if the innovation is successful, you have the critical border. You have a tipping point here. And what happens? Everybody's jumping into the water. Every penguin is following because there are no orcas around. So the product or service becomes a commodity, right? And that is what is happening in all kinds of industries. And this is what I talked about before, I think so as well. Super important. That is this terminology as well, the S-curve and the S-curve jump. So that is the R&D output, research and development output. This is the input here. And we have this S shape here and this S shape here. So innovation is happening only here from one curve to another curve. That is the S-curve jump. That is really the new kind of industry standard that's been set. This is driving the market. In between here, this is just evolution. We call that, this is here. This is more this transformational innovation. These are the transformational innovations. These are transformational innovations, and these ones here are also innovations, but these are more what we call incremental innovations. Incremental innovations and transformational innovations. There's a big difference here. For example, you can look at what I was plotting here in the video segment. You had a VHS going to the DVD. That is an S-curve jump, and the DVD is being substituted or replaced by the Blu-ray, and you can even say that this is replaced by streaming in general or the 4K disc. Storage from the data set to the disk to hard drive to CD to memory stick to cloud space. Yeah, to cloud space, and that is another S-curve jump. Answering machines from analog to digital to network-based is another one. There are multiple examples. I think you get the logic. And you have to manage the S-curve jump as well in order to stay ahead of the game. Now, what I also love to talk about are some kind of creativity techniques that help you fostering innovations, coming out with cool ideas. So through the use of creativity techniques, you can come out with a new kind of service or an improvement. Could also be a process innovation. And there are many techniques: brainstorming, brainwriting, whatever, morphological box, and I will try to talk about some of them. So, brainstorming. Let's talk about brainstorming. Okay, everybody knows what brainstorming is about, so I quickly go over that. But so you determine the right participants, then you have an information being sent out to the participants beforehand. You specify the problem, and then you also select a minute taker, so a timekeeper. And then what is most important is always that there is no verbal or non-verbal criticism. So what always is better is that there is quantity over quality. Whether the idea is useful or not is not important. What is more important is that you have many different perspectives. Each person should be able to express their thoughts freely. Usually that is not what is happening in brainstorming, because they're always the same people talking. That is a bit of a downside, and therefore we also use brainwriting techniques here. I'll come to this in a couple of seconds. Then I said no dismissive comments, and I'm sorry. And the more outlandish, the better. Out of the box, no judgment, just number counts. So 6 to 5. So what is? Do I also have brainwriting? Oh, I don't have brainwriting in here, but I quickly want to talk about brainwriting, because brainwriting is close to, very similar to brainstorming. And it works like that everybody's getting lots of sheets of paper, and he or she, the process is basically the same, but then they're writing their ideas on paper. The good thing is that through this process, you eradicate a little bit, or you diminish a little bit the problem that these are always the same people talking. So that is the big advantage here. That people also who are a bit more introvert, they come out with suggestions as well. 6-3-5 method, you heard about that. It's a kind of brainwriting technique. It's a bit more specific here. 6 participants, 3 ideas each, 5 hands off. So participants receive 1 sheet of paper divided into 3 columns, 6 rows, and 18 boxes. That's usually the setup here. And each person writes an idea in the first box of each column. So total of 3 ideas you have, right? And each sheet will be handed off to the next participants after a certain amount of time, usually 3 to 5 minutes. Could also be 7 minutes, but no longer than that, in a clockwise manner. And the next person attempts to work off the already listed ideas and add to them or develop them further. And within 30 minutes then, a maximum of 180 ideas are being created. And that's cool. Yeah, 6 participants times 3 ideas times 6 rows. So that is a very effective way. Actually, my most preferred one is the morphological box. Usually we can also make a combination of each of those techniques, and of course there are much more techniques like that. I love the morphological box. How is it working? Do I have one example here? Yes. Oh, that's German one, but okay. So if, for example, let's look at the procedure first, and then we do one on the screen. So procedure is identification of basic, realizable, and independent characteristics. So attributes, parameters to a product or to a service. These are to be written down, and then you identify of all possible values of the particular characteristics. And then you select of 1 value for each characteristic on each line. I don't know who of you has ever done a morphological box, but it's quite easy, and it's great fun. It's great fun. How is it working? Let's quickly do one. So for example, we thought about, okay, we have to make it easy now. I'm not thinking about a world innovation now. Okay, but let's add a variant to an existing line. We are Rittersport. We want to come out with a new kind of chocolate. And so what are we doing? We are having all kind of rows like that, and so I'm not doing it so properly, but okay, better than nothing. And then so okay, so what is chocolate about? So we can think about a certain kind of color, and then we have the different kind of attributes in the different kind of columns here. So for example, okay, brown, and then we have, okay, boom, boom, boom. You just to get the idea, you have yellow, pink, orange, and so on and so forth, right? Okay. Then we have weight, for example, as a characteristic. Weight. Oh, so 100 grams classic. Okay, 250 grams, 500, 1 kilo. I don't know, 50 grams. Okay. Then we have taste. Okay. Then we have, I don't know, orange, maracuja, banana, pineapple, I don't know. What else do we have? I'm running out of ideas already. Citrus, you get the logic. Then we have smell. Smell. Salty, I don't know, sour. Also could also be a kind of I don't know, herb. Okay. Then we have, what else do we have? We have packaging. Then we can think about, okay, it's I don't know, aluminium, but that's not very good for the environment. So we have paper, and we may have glass, or whatever, I don't know, plastic. We can also combine that morphological box with brainwriting or brainstorming. And then we have, for example, we have pricing. Then we have, I don't know, €1, €2, 10 euros, 100 euros, whatever. Then we have another thing we may have is shape. Shape is a good one. So we have, I don't know, square. We have a triangle. We have, I don't know, a pyramid. We can have a circle, etc. Okay, now that's a morphological box. And usually what we do in workshop sessions is then each of the participants gets certain kind of stickers. And now let's assume, I don't know, 3 people, and then I don't know, 2 people are doing that, and 1 person is doing that one. Oh, so we have the color shall be classic brown. And then we all 3 go for, I don't know, for 1 kilo. Okay, this one, and you get the logic. 1, 1, 1. Oh, that's a bit of a, I don't know, problem here. And then 1, 2, 3. So what we do is doom. Okay, here we don't know. So, and you come out with a brown chocolate, 1 kilogram. That tastes like, I don't forget even what it was, banana, pineapple. It has a sour smell, and the package is out of aluminium. The price is 2 euros. Oh, this is very inexpensive. And the shape is that of a pyramid. Now, yeah, but you get the logic. It is super cool. You can come out with very, very great ideas, and it's a bit more concrete. Then you just do the brainstorming alone. So what I would usually do in real life is that I would think about using a creativity technique such as brainstorming, brainwriting, and then combine it with a morphological box. Okay, cool. So next thing is idea assessment. Define your assessment criteria, and then support the individual criteria with questions. Now, and this idea, in this idea assessment, you need to assess the different kind of variants you have when it comes to a product or different kind of a service, like we just did for the morphological box. And you need to summarize in the end, you need to summarize the individual assessments with a complete assessment, which really puts this service idea, which was formerly a bit abstract, for example, or product idea, which was a bit abstract, in more concrete details. Like I said, you can do a scoring model. It's a very structured way of doing that. For example, here, strategic objectives. Does the service match business objectives? You can score from 1, 5 definitely, 1 not really, etc. And so on and so forth. Economics, acceptance. This is just an example here. You can have different kind of criteria to be used, but scoring models usually are very, very helpful in this respect. Okay, so cool. I end this session here. I will stay in the line and we'll discuss some more elements, but I don't want to. I want to keep the videos a little bit shorter because nobody would be interested, I think, in having a 1.5 hour session just with me speaking as a kind of a monologue. So thanks very much, first of all, for your time, and see you for another video shortly.